Good evening, Bahamas. It's Tuesday, April 23rd, 2013, and this is NB12. Coming up tonight in news, a man shot and killed in the middle of the day, the sixth murder in the past week. Filipinos concerned about government's new work permit policy, the minister responds. The Colley family still waiting to bury loved ones lost in the Mayagüana Runway tragedy. Cross-examination in the Kofi Goodman trial begins, and a local fashion designer takes off. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. I'm Christina McNeil, and your NB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. Police are searching for the suspect who robbed and killed a man near a busy highway in broad daylight. The incident unfolded in the Blue Hill Heights area off Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway this afternoon. Area residents and business owners reported hearing a series of gunshots. Minutes later, they saw the victim's body on the side of the road near a bushy area. Vonique Toot has the details.
Even as the victim's body was slumped against his white Ford truck, crime scene investigators combed surrounding bushes in search of clues that would help them determine who killed this man and why. This is the sixth murder recorded in a week. As vehicles streamed along the busy Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway near Eagle Electrics this afternoon, a gunman managed to shoot the unsuspecting victim before escaping. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Superintendent Paul Roll, says the police control room received reports of a shooting in the Blue Hill Heights area at around 1 p.m. An ambulance raced to the scene but left empty minutes later after EMS personnel pronounced the victim dead. Here's what police know so far.
This male had stopped his truck for some reason and in the street here behind me, where he was accosted by a male who was armed with, we believe, a shotgun, who demanded his money from him. As this male was about to exit his truck, the assailant opened fire, striking him to the upper and lower extremities.
The unidentified man is believed to be in his 40s. Roll says the truck he was driving was registered in the name of a construction company. He could not say if the gunman got away with cash or anything else.
We're not certain as yet. We still have quite a bit to do to determine whether, in fact, they did take his wallet, and that we'll know hopefully later on today.
See this surveillance camera? Police are hoping that footage from it will help them to catch the suspect who shot the victim before running up that hill. This is the 34th murder for the year. 6 people have been murdered since Commissioner of Police Allison Greenslade announced that crime is down 13% and murders plunged 24%. Though he admits police have lost ground in recent days, he says crime is still down.
The murder figures are still down. The other crime figures are still down. And so have we lost a bit of ground? Yes, we have. So, for example, if I give you a percentage of, say, 13-14%, or say 26% respective murder, if you look at the percentage now, it'll probably be more to 15%. So there is this creeping effect.
This time last year, 40 murders were on record. That's 6 more than this year's figure. Murders are still down, but the number of armed robberies is rising. Last week, Greenslade revealed that category of crime was up 3%. As investigations continue into this latest incident, the CDU chief issued this familiar appeal to the public.
So we do appeal for members of the public who may have seen or heard something to give us a call so that we can help try and solve this latest homicide.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonique Toot.
Well, the minister responsible for Immigration and Foreign Affairs is defending government's policy decision to cease issuing work permits for maids, housekeepers, and laborers within a year. This after the Philippine embassy asked the Bahamas government to let Filipinos keep their jobs for the time being. Earlier this month, Philippine government officials visited the Bahamas, meeting with labor and immigration officials to address some concerns. Among them, the more than 1,000 Filipinos who hold work permits in the Bahamas who may lose their jobs as a result of government's new policy. Today, Mitchell pointed out that there is no need for concern as government is just seeking to implement a rational policy in the best interests of its citizens.
This is a country of rules and laws. It is not an arbitrary, whimsical, or capricious country, nor is it arbitrary and whimsical in the applications of its policies. And so there need be no fear of some arbitrary policy which is going to expel people en masse from the Bahamas. This is a rational policy by a rational government which is acting reasonably in the defense of its own people. I mean, this is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and there's no apology that has to be made for a policy of Bahamians first.
When it comes to renewal of work permits, Mitchell alluded that they will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Back in March, when Mitchell first outlined the new policy in the House of Assembly, he indicated that Cabinet would work in conjunction with the Department of Labor and National Training Program to train the labor force, allowing government to cease issuing permits and labor certificates to have foreigners employed in key areas. A labor certificate is a formal indication that no Bahamian can fill the job being advertised. Today, Mitchell told reporters there's a new sheriff in town. This as the Department of Labor has implemented stricter policies relating to issuing labor certificates.
No work permit is going to be issued unless a Bahamian is not available for that job. And that applies whether it's from the top down to the bottom. It applies whether it's the bank, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's the industrial sector up in Grand Bahama. It applies across the board.
That, Mitchell says, also applies to major employers Atlantis and the soon-to-come-on-stream Baha Mar Resort. Mitchell says Atlantis already has a training program in place, and he has received a commitment from Baha Mar executives that training will also take place at that resort.
I spoke before, some of them got offended. You know, no work permits for bartenders, maids, domestics, laborers, housekeepers, no work permits. The only way that is going to get resolved is by starting the training now for people to be certified to do those jobs. And that's the thing that the Filipinos offer, for example. When they come to the Bahamas as a domestic, they have a certificate from their government which says they are qualified to do the job that they do.
Both Baha Mar and Atlantis officials have expressed concern about a labor shortage in several key areas that require skilled workers. Well, it's been 19 days since 3 people died tragically in a runway accident on Mayagüana. However, their grieving relatives have yet to receive their remains. Former F&M Cabinet Minister Sidney Collie lost his mother, sister, and brother-in-law on April 4th when a plane crashed into a truck on the Mayagüana Airport runway. Collie declined an on-camera interview but told MB12 that the delay in releasing their remains is causing a lot of stress. State Minister for National Security Keith Bell said there are certain legal requirements before those remains can be released.
Whenever we have those types of incidents, and I have conveyed my condolences to the Collie family, you always have an investigation, and before any remains can be released, they have to carry the necessary reports, tests and investigations, identification of the remains and that sort of a thing, and that takes time, unfortunately.
Collie says he recently met with the Commissioner of Police, who informed him that because there is no lab that can deal with forensics and DNA in the Bahamas, they have to send samples to the lab. The family has been told this process will take 2 to 4 weeks. Bell says he hopes a new multi-million-dollar national forensics lab will cut down on the time it takes for families to receive their dead relatives' bodies.
I could say at this point that it will not be at police headquarters. We're looking at a site, and from all indications, I could say without fear of contradiction that within this term of government, we will have a state-of-the-art national forensic lab.
At this point, Collie said he just wants to give his loved ones a dignified funeral.